Hello, hello, hello. Okay, it is noon on day 3 of the JumpStart Challenge. I'm so glad to be back here with you today. We've already gotten off to a momentous start. And I just want to thank you. I've had some really uplifting messages after hours, off the scenes, just from folks, sharing their story and what's going on for them. I just want to applaud you momentum warriors that are out there. I know all of you have, lives, families, businesses, things going on. And just to show up for yourself, to even spend 45 minutes learning something new, right? Embracing a new challenge. And just staking a claim to jumpstarting your own energy and what that means for you. That's really a tremendous commitment to yourself. So I'm just very grateful for that. Keep sharing that with me. It really fires me up to hear those things. And I have to tell you, like this is a very from this side of the screen, this feels like a very lopsided communication form, right? Like I'm, out there talking to you, but unless you're putting comments in the chat or sending me these messages after hours, like that is the feedback that's coming to me. It's not like having a live conversation where I'm getting real time unless those comments are going in and it's showing up in the chat right now. So if if you're here with me today and you chat, I can't always see your name because it doesn't show up like this the same as if it was in a comment. But I can see those chat remarks. And so if you're here today, I just want to applaud you. Thank you so much for showing up live because that also feeds me, right? Like that's exciting to me to be able to see you out there and just soaking up some good stuff and maybe some new stuff to think about, right? This spring sprint is an opportunity to just look at things in a different way. Oh, I just realized I never turned that off. Oh, no, I can see. Maybe there isn't an overlay now. So, yeah, the spring coming up. Actually, I think tomorrow, in fact, is the very first day of spring, technically, and that is so exciting because spring, of course, is the season of rebirth, of new life. The plants are coming back into their green leafy seasons, the flowers, the buds, things are blooming. And I think that it's a perfect time to align your energy with that motion, right? That momentum that you want to create in your own life and business to carry you forward. And so thank you for joining me on this journey. So day 1, if you haven't had a chance to jump in yet and you're new to this, I'm Teresa Bassett. I get to be your host for this event. And this is something that I've been doing for a couple years now in the spring and in the fall. But this is the very first time that we're actually doing it during the first week of the sprint itself. So the spring sprint runs from March 18th to June 18th. It is 90 days of immersive focus on 3 specific targets. What are the targets? Those are completely personal to you, right? But I highly recommend that you make one of those targets physical so that not only do you get in motion like we talked about on day 1, but you stay in motion for the entire 90 days. That doesn't mean don't have a day of rest or active rest. Absolutely. But super important to root your commitment to yourself in action, right? And the dopamine hit that you get from that, the serotonin, the happy hormones that you get from just moving your body, from sweating, from real activity is invaluable. And so that's just going to help produce happy brain waves. That's going to help fuel that wave of momentum that you're creating. So do not underestimate the power of exercise, of just moving, right, in the process. So if you're out there and you have been moving and grooving this week, I definitely would love to hear about that. I myself have been doing the same thing. I've been power walking with my doggos. I've been out there, on my bicycle. I've been at the beach this morning. I know you saw me out there, and I just love that outside time. And just it juices me up, it charges me up, right? And it's one of the things that I need for healthy brain waves each day is that movement. And I do believe that when you're in that healthy mindset space, you attract all the very best things to you. Of course, you attract what you are, not just what you want, right? You attract what you are. And so if you are feeling sluggish, you're going to attract sluggish, right? If you're feeling stuck, you're going to attract more stuck. If you're focused on, what can't happen, you're going to see more evidence for what can't happen, right? And in day 2 yesterday, we talked a lot about the mental game and mindset, and I can't stress enough how important this is. We could literally talk about this all week, probably all month, to be honest, because there's just so much here. We just started to skim the surface. But this is super important, and it's something that, hey guys, it's not like, I'm out here talking about this because I have it all figured out. Every day for me too is a learning journey, right? I mean, we're in it together. And so it's really important to just recognize that every day is a new opportunity to learn, to embrace something different, and to start over, right? Press that restart button, jumpstart into a different gear. So, just to recap, though, some of the things that really are the hallmarks of successful people, whether they're sprinting or whether they're in a marathon season, or maybe they're thinking about what it is that they want to accomplish. People that success leaves clues, right? There is a breadcrumb trail, and there are some common factors. And so, habits are definitely a huge part of that. But some visionary thinking, right? Successful people kind of know where they want to go. They're clear about those things. And I've had some mentors in my life. Can't say enough, can't give back enough for what they've breathed into me. But one of the things that I noticed about the coaches and the mentors that I've worked with is they may accomplish something, but then they're immediately thinking about kind of like what's next and resetting, right? The target. And so that's really where this sprint methodology comes from. That's something that I've felt has just been really helpful to me, because when I'm in between season, I'm literally feeling the drift, right? And the drift makes me feel a little bit, it does make me feel a little bit more sluggish. I don't have my mind in the game the same way, right? And so I do this sprint methodology because it helps me stay out of long periods of drift where I'm just, a wandering generality. And when I'm a meaningful specific, I'm very clear. I'm feeling better, right? And because I'm feeling better, I'm thinking better, and because I'm thinking better, I'm doing better. And so all of it just works together. That's part of that up cycle that we talked about yesterday. So having a really clear picture about where you want to go is super important part of this. And we started out on day 1 with some homework, not only around moving, but clarity exercise, right? Like, where are you? Where do you want to go? And those things, just starting to peel back the onion layers and just say, hey, brutal honesty, where am I? Maybe that's physical, maybe that's financial. That's going to lean into the clarity around those specific targets for this spring sprint. But just starting to take a look at what you really want, to have and be and do, and where you are today in relationship to those things. So super important piece of that is that visionary thinking, right? Being clear on where you want to go, kind of big picture, having a positive mindset, right? Knowing that you can do it, that you have both the ability and the profound opportunity, responsibility to yourself. I mean, this is our one life, guys. And, we're in it to win it together. And I feel like that puts me in a position of just needing to be a good steward of my time, of my energy, of the amazing people I have in my life. Just, that gratitude alone puts me in a position of wanting to take care of them, of wanting to take care of myself, of wanting to take care of the things that were really near and dear to my heart. In fact, my word of the year this year is stewardship, and it's been an amazing word actually this year. I had difficulty picking a word. And then when I actually chose that word, it immediately started to refocus and shift some things for me around how deeply I care about the things that I've really been blessed with in my life, right down to like my lovey dog, Georgia. And I was telling my team, like instantly around that word, I was like, wow, I may never have a dog again in my life that I love as much as Georgia. And I certainly love my other dog too, Bella, but she's a little feisty. I don't know. She's just a little different. And Georgia, a Labradoodle, is she just has these large, big, people eyes is what I call them. These large green people eyes. And she'll just sit and she just is so loving. And instantly that word reframed for me, this journey that I have with this pup. And it sounds so silly, but I mean, I just want to be a good steward of the time I have with her. I mean, even just now it makes me emotional. So just really being a good caretaker of the relationships that you have in your life, and knowing that that positive mindset, you have an opportunity to breathe greatness into all the people that you touch. And in doing that, you're also breathing greatness into your own life, and you're attracting more people that want to do that with you. So it's an opportunity for growth for all of us, focusing on solutions, right? Not problems. We didn't talk about excuse-itis, but I hear a lot of people with this syndrome out there. And I, too, of course, as a work in progress, I can fall into this too, but excuses for why something won't work or why they can't do it or why it can't happen or why that's not reasonable or logical, being reasonable and logical is great. I'm all for it, but sometimes you have to be a little unreasonable, a little bit illogical, and you just have to go for the gusto, right? And so having that focus on solutions, let's look for the ways it can work. Let's ask ourselves, how can we do it, right? How can we accomplish these things? And the really important thing is to prime for this sprint and get really clear on those targets, because then you're going to go into a phase where you're ideating on how to accomplish those things, right? And we're going to talk even more about that on Momentum Day on Friday. Super important, because now we want to start to peel back and brainstorm around how can we accomplish these things that we've set out that are important to us. And then we also talked about continuous learning, right? Just having a mindset of curiosity, really even the curiosity that helped you show up today, right? It's like, oh, well, how can I make my life better? Is there something out there that can help me? Right. And maybe this jumpstart is just a little extra accountability or impetus or encouragement to try something new on for size. And if that's you, I applaud you, because it's not easy to try new things. And a lot of people that you run into are not really willing to do that. And so I think that puts you in a class all your own, just right there. Right. But on your growing edge, on that cutting edge of what's comfortable, that's where all the growth happens. Right. We talked about pressure creating resiliency in us, shaping our character and our capacity. And that is just, those are priceless gifts and opportunities to get stronger as a human being, to learn more compassion, more capacity, and to understand people in all kinds of different situations in their life. And I know that some of the most challenging situations in my own life have given me a profound appreciation for the fact that everybody is going through their own stuff. Everybody, every single person that you meet is going through their own stuff. And so it's important to be kind. It's important to be, compassionate, and to understand that it's not, if they react to something that you say, it's probably not personal at all. It probably has everything to do with what they're going through, right? And the story they're telling themselves about what's possible for them and the meaning that they're bringing that interaction to the table. So last night's homework was kind of interesting because it's giving you an opportunity to look at your story. Speaking of stories, And we have an opportunity to look at the old story, kind of uncover the old story, and where might there be some limiting beliefs or some things we've given meaning to that have happened in the past that, maybe they hold us back. Maybe they have too much power over us to define us in ways that aren't really serving us today. So it's an opportunity to kind of step back and go, okay, what is my story? What are my beliefs around these areas that matter to me? And where are there potentially possibilities for my life that I haven't really considered before? How could I write a new story? So I'm pulling out the workbook here, guys, and this write your new story page. And it says, let's take your old story and flip it to create an empowering, limitless one. Ask yourself the following questions and write a new story in the space. What's something good that came out of your story? What's something you thought was an obstacle in your life, but created skills that made you who you are today? What unique capabilities do you now have? Find the good that comes from your story. There's a better story for you. What is it? Yeah, that is so exciting. Honestly, this is the land of limitless power possibilities right here, this conversation, right? Because you do have the ability to decide what those old things mean, carry forward the things that really serve you, and craft a new story around even what the next 90 days is going to look like. You guys, a lot of change, a lot of good things can happen in 90 days. It's amazing what you can do when you put your mind to it. So, for me, when I get ready for a sprint, it takes me some time to marinate on these targets. It takes me some time to decide what these quality targets are going to be because I'm going to go for the gusto. I'm going to go all in 100%. And I'm going to put kind of racehorse blinders on. What does that mean to me? Well, my family can tell you, when I'm in a sprint, I practice a little bit of willful negligence, honestly, meaning it's mindful, the things that I'm saying no to in part. And I'm not necessarily trying to do all the things that I typically do because I'm a very, I have a huge domestic side. And I love, homemaking. I love cooking. I love gardening. I love hospitality. I love inviting people into my home. I love feeding them. But here's the reality. When I'm in a sprint season and I really have some concerted goals in front of me, a lot of times those are things that I'm really pushing myself to, get ready for a running race, for example. And I'm in a training season, getting ready for a half marathon or a marathon. And I'm really all in on that, which means that I've got to run 3 days a week minimum. Right. I do short runs on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I do my long runs on Saturdays. And on Saturday morning, like those long runs sometimes take me several hours. And so I've really got to like make some space in my life. If I'm going to run for several hours, I'm probably not going to be standing in the kitchen 20 minutes later getting ready for, to cook for a group of people. So I practice a bit of willful negligence, and I make a list prior to my sprint, even looking into the family events that are coming up. I did it for this one, right? So April is coming up. Before the end of the first leg of the sprint, the first 30 days, which ends April 18th, my husband's birthday is coming up. Right. And I love to celebrate birthdays. I love to celebrate milestones. And I love my husband very, very much. And so I want to celebrate his birthday. And so maybe anticipating that, okay, I'm probably going to have birthday cake and I'm going to get ready to celebrate with him and I'm going to prepare for that. How does that play into my physical target, my financial target, or my other target? And what do I need to do to plan for that? So it's a little bit of strategic thinking and looking forward, right? May, I have Mother's Day. Well, I love my mother. I want to celebrate my mother. I want, she's a couple hours away, so I've got to carve out some time. So I'm probably not going to do that on a Saturday morning, right? If I'm preparing for a running event. So it's that kind of thinking, like really preparing for my success in the sprint means also taking into consideration the things that are naturally already baked into my schedule. And so it does take a little bit of working on it, not just being in it. Right. And that is something that I've practiced over and over and over. And so if that's new to you, be gentle with yourself. Just carve out a little bit of time. Maybe it's just 20 or 30 minutes where you can think. The power of just getting outside of the normal day to day to think about what you want and how you're going to plan to accomplish it is so, so valuable, right? Being really mindful to invite in the things that you want to be able to give your energy and your focus to where you really want your energy to flow and not have it frittered away with all of these other things that you're just used to doing. Maybe some of the things that you're used to doing, you need to scale back a little bit for 90 days to accomplish something massive that really has meaning for you. Right. And so that blinders on approach, they put blinders on racehorses so they'll pay attention to this, to the area that's right in front of them, and they don't get distracted by the other horses and by the things going on the side of the track. Right. And so blinders on for me is a really important feature of a sprint. It's really important to decide where I want my focus to go, to decide which direction I want my energy to flow. Right. And so that is definitely part of the mindset piece, but it's also part of what we're going to talk about today, the mojo around it. And the mojo is, Mojo Day is really about what fires you up, what personally floats your boat, right? What makes your heart sing? When I was out on the beach this morning, that is just a glimpse. I mean, I'm a water baby, 100%. And I know I have some other, water lovers out there too. But for me, going to the water, participating in the coastal life that I'm so blessed to live in here in Wilmington, North Carolina, that really, I mean, I lived my whole life inland, right, until I was 42 years old or so, 44. And I decided that it was just enough inland living. And I really felt called to move to the water. So I had to make a very conscious decision, my husband and I both, that we were going to move our business, we were going to move our life to the coast. And that was not an easy decision. I've got a ton of family there, and it was hard to leave them. But it was important for my spirit. And I really felt, like I said, I felt called to go to the water and to align myself with a physical environment that I really love, that makes my heart sing. Right. So Mojo is, I really want you to ask yourself today, what floats my boat? What makes my heart sing? Right? What makes me just feel alive, feel like I want to jump for joy, like puts a little spring in your step, right? And it's different for everybody. But one of the things that I want you to do today for homework is I want you to create something I call your love list. So if you end up participating in my online coaching program at some point in the future, I've got a course I'll tell you more about called the Time, Money, Freedom Formula. I love to create a life that allows you more time and money simultaneously to do more of the things that you love in life. And that course is not just for business owners. It is a wonderful coaching opportunity, on demand, self-paced learning for business owners, but it's also really good for people who are just have an entrepreneurial mindset, who are go-getters, and might want to have more of that freedom in their life as well. But what do you want the freedom for? Right? What do you want to do, be, and have? Isn't that what we've been talking about since the beginning? Your sprint goals should be aligned with what you want more of. Right. And so for me, I feel challenged, yes, when I prepare for an endurance event, but it also makes me feel alive. And even when I'm out there running, it really is not easy for me still. The last one that I did here in Wilmington, there's a stretch of highway from mile about 7 to mile 11 and a half or so. Was pretty tough for me. It's all concrete. You're kind of going on a slight uphill on the highway. And, it's like, I'm asking myself, okay, like, why am I doing this? On some level, right? Because it's challenging. It's not easy. And I realized that one of the questions that I kept coming back to is, if not this, then what? Like, I love other types of physical activity, but I also love the race vibe. I love the mojo of all the people cheering on the side and just feeling a part of something bigger than myself. And it was a super fun way to experience my city in a different way, right? I had never done a Wilmington, a local event, and I just really enjoyed being in the event Mojo itself. So for me, some of that spring in my step comes from challenging myself in those ways. And I think sometimes comfort is overrated. Um, yes, we have a need for predictability and comfort, stability, and safety, but we also have a need for variety, for the spice of life, right? The things that push us and challenge us and make us feel alive or exhilarated. And a lot of times, those are things that we don't do on a daily basis. And so, I always try to build into my sprints things that kind of catapult me forward, right? Things that really pull me towards them. And so we're going to talk more about that on Momentum Day on Friday as well. But I think it's a super fun way to think about your mojo, right? So let's create a love list. What's your love list? Let's write down the things that maybe it's just 5 or 10 things, right? My sales team knows this exercise well because I ask them to do this as well. Because, when you're attracting people to your service or your product in business, it really helps to be in a positive state, right? Because you're going to attract more of the right people to your organization, more of the best people to your organization. And so, if you need to do a checkup from the neck up and you got to knock up your energy a little bit, your love list can be really helpful. So your love list should be a list of 5 to 10 things, maybe that instantly elevate your mood, your outlook, your energy, maybe your perspective. They instantly make you feel better, right? What are those things for you that within 5 to 10 minutes maybe can instantly up level your energy, right? It's so important to have this list because how many times a week or a day do you just need an up level, just a little up level, right? In that energy. And, some days more than others. Some days you need a giant up level, right? Because you just wake out of bed and you step on the dog and you just wake up on the wrong side of everything. And those are really important days to choose your state and to, if you're having a thought that isn't serving you, have a better thought and choose it. But sometimes it's just a little calibration. Um, and so for me, on my love list, I like to some things on my love list are a little more time intensive. Like for me, I love learning. So for to go to a bookstore, Barnes and Noble's right down the street for me, if I'm just having a day where I need a major uptick, I can walk into a Barnes and Noble and I instantly feel up leveled. I I can tell you, I probably understand some of it. I love the fact that all of those people have contributed their words through those books. I'm a huge nonfiction fan, and I'm just constantly reading. And I love fiction as well, but I love that people felt so inspired to record those words and sat down. That made the choice to put their energy into sharing those words with me and that opportunity. And so I just instantly feel inspired when I go in there and I instantly feel up leveled. And that up level feeling stays with me for hours, sometimes days. And it inspires me to the next best thing. So for me, going into a bookstore is definitely on my love list. A blank notebook is on my love list. If I ever, even in my poorest days, if it didn't have a dime to spend, I could go into a dollar store literally and buy a blank notebook and give me a pen. And I was a happy, happy camper. Why? What a blank notebook. What on earth, Teresa? Like you're ridiculous. Yeah, a little bit ridiculous, but it's a blank slate, you guys. It's a jump start. It's a restart. It's the same thing we're talking about here today. On a blank piece of paper, a blank notebook, I can create anything. There's no limit. Welcome to the world of limitless possibilities, right? I'm right back there in an instant, and it puts me in a creative, resourceful state, right? Riding in the car with the music on, the window down. I love a convertible. I don't have one right now, but I absolutely love, the outside sunshine coming in through the windows, listening to great music. I love music in general. And so music is on my love list, right? There's certain songs that just instantly catapult me to a different state. Write those things down for you that really help you get into that flow state or feel that mojo kind of on a different level, because there may be days, and maybe there's more days than you even want to admit, or more hours than you even want to admit, where you need to tap into that love list and find your mojo, right? There's only one you, right? And there's only you that's coming to take care of you in that way. Nobody's going to go, hey, Maggie, maybe you need to go to your love list. You got to do it, right? So I'm here to encourage you to form a love list and go back to it early and often, like as many times as you need to, because you're worth it. And the things that you want to create in your life, the targets you have in your sprint, you're intentional about those things, or you're about to be intentional about those things because they matter to you. They matter. They matter to you. And so does your energy. The energy that you're putting into it. Let's make sure that we protect the mind space, the mindset, the mental game, that we protect the motion and the physical energy, and that we add our mojo to the equation, right? We put these days in an order because they build upon each other, right? They build upon each other day after day. And we're going to talk tomorrow about money, because money is a really important source of energy. And it can be a major motivator, but can be a major discourager. And it adds fuel to the fire. Money makes you more of what you already are. So if you're an incredibly generous, loving person, money is just going to help you be more generous and more loving, right? If you feel the opposite and you feel like the world has scarce resources and that you have to protect everything, then money is probably you're gonna have that same feeling about money, right? But let's talk about money a little bit, because it is an important piece of energy. And there is, a reason that the second sprint target is financial, right? Nothing like money has the power of making you feel more discouraged or disheartened, right? If your reality is not lining up with what you want to see in your life in the money department, it can be devastating. It can just take the wind out of your sails like nothing else, right? And so, yes, health, super important to protect, but your financial health and wellness is super important to protect as well. So we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to talk more about momentum. And I'm also going to tell you about my book coming out, Up Level. I'm going to tell you more about the Time Money Freedom Formula course and how you can opt into that. But the whole point of this week is really not to sell you on going to the next step or investing in yourself in it through a book or a course. The whole point is for you to take responsibility, radical responsibility for your energy and for the amazing ability that you have right in front of you, and to get in motion, get your mind in the game, find your mojo, and charge forward. Momentum warriors, you have people around you that are watching you. You are a leader for your family, for the people sitting right next to you in your office, for your children, right? What are they modeling? What are they seeing? How are you showing up for yourself? What is the story you're telling yourself around what happened and where you're going? Let's craft an amazing new story. I I mentioned Chad yesterday. He was one of the momentum warriors that I connected with through the JumpStart Challenge a couple years ago. And he's still with me on this journey. And we were exchanging a text. I was sharing a bit of gratitude for him with him yesterday. And he said, yeah, I think I'm forever going to be sprinting in the spring and the fall from now on. And I realized, wow, you are so right, Chad. I am going to be sprinting with you because last fall when I didn't do this, I just didn't feel like I was in the right headspace or prepared. Um, I missed it. And I still sprinted. I sprinted myself and I had an amazing sprint and I sprinted with my team as well, my sales team, but wasn't quite the same. And I missed all of you coming along for the journey with me. And I decided yesterday when I thought about that I really want to keep the mojo going. I want to keep the momentum going around this as well. And you are sure to see me in the fall, kicking off the fall sprint, because this is really important what we're doing. And it's really not about me. It's really just about me observing my own energy and going, oh, okay, maybe there's other people out there like me that like stops and starts and get energy in this way and maybe just feel burnt out doing it the continuous treadmill kind of way, right? Just observing that, just documenting that. That's what my new book Up Level is about. I'm going to put up on the screen just for a minute. I'm going to see if technologically I can figure this out. I think I can. I'm going to block my camera, hide this. Okay. So you should be able to see the sprint calendar, the Up Level sprint calendar. And this is in the book as well. But I had Tiffany from my team pull this out today. Thank you so much, Tiffany, because I think it's important to see the calendar in the framework of what we're talking about. So, you know, I know that for Nina, I know you've mentioned that, hey, you get a lot of energy in the summer. You guys can customize this or personalize this to what moves you, right? What works for you. Maybe there are different seasons where you just naturally feel different energy than I do. That's totally fine. The main thing is that you just observe your own energy and you do something that works for you. But for me, like I said, first of the year, I love New Year's resolutions, but I'm not quite ready to sprint. So I get my wits about me. January, February, I start priming for the sprint, and then I get ready in mid March. And then that goes to mid-June. The spaces in between, the 90 days in between, those are what I call bridge periods. And in the bridges, I like to keep physical activity up, but I don't have that same blinders on immersive focus towards the targets. So I like to keep up the physical mojo. Of course, always going back to my love list, keeping my energy high, keeping that positive mindset, but I give myself a little bit of a break, right? So maybe this calendar doesn't line up exactly for you. I want to encourage you to make it your own. It's okay if your calendar lines up a little bit differently. I don't know if in a previous life I was a Native American or what. I do think that there is something to the fact that I grew up in Michigan. And so I'm a four seasons girl. And so for me, the seasons, winter, spring, summer, fall, are very distinct. Right. And so here now I live in a market, in the Wilmington area where our winters are a lot more mild. I don't really have the same fall here because I don't have as many deciduous trees. But I still have a seasonal DNA baked into me. And so for me, this is the way my physical calendar lines up with the seasons of the year as well. And I definitely get a surge of energy in the spring and a surge of energy in the fall. And so that's exactly what this up level calendar is synced up. And so some of it is, geared around some of the things I talked about, holidays and summer breaks and whatnot. But some of it is also just the product of observing my own energy over the course of time and recognizing what does it take for me to maintain that mojo throughout the year, and how can I best harness my focus and my energy and maybe lean in when my energy is already naturally organically surging in the year, as opposed to constantly feeling like I'm trying to pound a square peg in a round hole. Who here has ever tried to do something in the wrong timing? Like you're just making yourself do it, and you're using willpower, right? Self discipline to just pound it. Um, for me, I have a limited amount of ability to do that. Yes, I have self-discipline. I have an amazing level of focus and you know, uh, concerted energy towards those targets at times. But if it's just not the right time, it's just not the right time. So I try and harness, when I naturally feel those surges. And for me, that's the spring and the fall. And then what I've noticed is that energy can carry me through my summer breaks, give me the ability to enjoy my summers and vacations and whatnot a little bit differently. And then also the holidays, because the holidays are really important to me, and I like to be present for my family 100% during the holidays. So strongly encourage you to make your love list. Be thinking about your targets. So, homework tonight, definitely stay in motion, right? 20 to 30 minutes, got to do it. That's the floor, right? Make sure that you tweak the stinking thinking, looking at your old story, crafting your new story. If you guys haven't done this exercise yet, please, please, please take a minute with a blank piece of paper. Think about 90 days from now and what you want that story to sound like, look like, right? Not to other people, to you, right? What do you want to see in your own life? What do you want to feel like, right? What's important to you? And then I'm going to give you some tips on Friday on how to set the most powerful targets possible. But a start on that is the next section in your workbook for homework tonight is the 7 levels deep exercise. Now, the 7 levels deep exercise in here is really getting in touch with your why. Why are these things important to you? And I want you to start in on this exercise. I will say I pulled out the 7 levels deep exercise this morning. Level 1 is what's important to you about becoming successful. What's important to you about but level 3 is kind of what's important for you about blank. If you already know what you think your physical target's going to be, your financial target or your other for the sprint, and you're just trying it on for size, right? Skip directly to level 3 for a minute. Forget about the question about success for a second, because success, that's a packed word, right? I love the word success. I think you have to define it for yourself. I do not think you can just adopt an external definition of success and have it resonate for you. But level 3, why is it important for you to, in 90 days, accomplish this target, right? And then go one level deeper. And why is it important for you to do that? And why is it important for you to do? Why is it important to you? Right? So sometimes what I've noticed is that the deeper you go, the more meaning you can find in it. And a lot of times we stay at a very surface level with our targets and goals. And that's one of the reasons why they don't have resonance on a heart level. They don't pull us towards them. We're not really willing to take any concrete accountability action because they're not connected to our why. And if they're not connected on a deep level to your why, with the minute you hit a speed bump or a wall kicking moment, you are going to want to quit. You have to have something that is compelling enough to get you over those speed bumps, right? And that's personal. That is completely personal to you. So a goal or a target can sound really nice. I love the SMART goals formula, right? Specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, time bound. Love that. But why does it matter? Why does it matter to you, right? what is it that is pulling you towards it, that is making it compelling to you? Right? For me, sometimes those physical targets are quite challenging to me, but they're tied to deeper motives around staying, vital health is one of my core values because I've had periods in my life where my health, my immune system was broken. I went through a season in business that really burned me out years ago. And my immune system was, I could feel that I was just reaching my limit. And then, sure enough, weeks later, I got really, really ill. My body had almost sent me a signal in advance that I really needed to pay attention to how burnt out I was. And then, sure enough, I got spinal meningitis, and it was really, really challenging to have my physical health just all of a sudden. I didn't have the vitality to do anything. I didn't have the ability to do anything I normally did, including reading a book, watching TV, having a conversation, or even walking. It was devastating to me. So, vital health is like, if I don't have my health, I don't have anything. I don't have the ability to focus on a single thing. Blinders on. I mean, blinders is just like, well, I'm surviving. So vital health is super, super important to me. And so when I set a physical target and I go 7 layers deep, this physical goal starts to become deeply rooted in a personal mission to stay vital in the health department. Because if I don't do that, I can't accomplish anything else on purpose in my life. And so, my mission just goes straight out the window, right? My mission to equip and encourage and to embolden leaders and their teams, I can't do any of that. Um, right? I can't talk to people about sales and marketing. I can't go to events. I can't feed my family. I can't be hospitable. I can't walk my dogs. I can't plant my flowers. I can't do any of it. So for me, that physical target is deeply rooted in my why. And it goes back to a very heart centered, compelling reason for me. So, but to get there, I had to do this levels deep exercise. So, when you set a target, use this as a test. Does it have enough resonance for you? And if you're not getting to a place where you almost feel choked up about it, if it's not that deeply tied, you might have a surface level target, right? So we're going to talk more about that on Momentum Day because it is super important to pick good targets. I will say, and I think that part of the up level sprint methodology is really tied in understanding how to craft good targets for you. But let's make a love list and let's start going 7 layers deep and finding your why. And I think that that'll be a great thing to do tonight. And because one of my love languages is gift giving, I am going to give away some of these gift cards that I have been storing. I've been looking for people who will post about their homework, and I haven't been able to give away any of these gift cards yet. But I am going to give away some prizes for those who show up live tomorrow and for those who do their homework. And so I'm still on the lookout for that. But I am darned and determined that I'm going to give out some gifts tomorrow because that is part of my mojo. So can't wait to see you back here tomorrow. We're gonna start talking about money, which will be super fun. And I hope that this love list and the 7 layers deep exercise, and definitely, if you haven't gotten into the story exercises and the clarity exercises, look, guys, the things in this workbook, if you take some time out to be mindful and do the homework, are going to feed your soul, right? It's really going to get you in a different mindset space to be able to tackle things on a different level. So we're just priming the pump to make this a great 90 days, maybe your best sprint ever if you've done the sprint with me before. I'm super excited that you're along for the journey with me. And personally, I'm committed to making this my best sprint ever. And in large part, it's because of you. 100%. being with you on the journey makes all the difference to me. So thank you so much for being here today and for tuning in. If it's after hours, I look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow. Thanks so much. Onward and upward.